Hey everyone, this is KJ, and I am here to give you a team builder. This time for a new league, the ISL International Showdown League. It's a league that I've been running with another one of my uh, co-admin, or a couple of other co-admins, M. Rogers and Zanku. We've been running it for this is now season 3, so yeah, this is a very fun league. The format is nat decks, DLC, no cut moves. So anything that was cut in Generation 8, we are not using. So no hidden power, no pursuit, no signal beam, etc., etc. Yeah, and so I will have a draft analysis for the team itself sometime in the next couple of weeks, I think. Hopefully, not too far, but I wanted to make sure that I'm continuing to put up content and start recording for this league. But I don't. I'm in the process of sort of getting a logo commissioned and sort of doing a bunch of different things like that. So I want to make sure that I have a good amount of like professional looking like layouts and stuff as I continue to go on. So especially with the fact that the logo is getting commissioned. So yeah. But anyway, let's jump into this. So for week 1 of the season, we're facing iLaserGuy. He is arguably the most consistent coach that we've had in ISL. He jumped off to a hot start season 1, made the playoffs, and then I think lost his game in the playoffs, but then came back season 2 and again had an incredibly hot start. Uh, Ended up as the 3 seed. Yeah, he was a 3 seed. Beat me in the playoffs, and then made it all the way to the finals where he lost to the eventual champion. Yeah, so he again very good coach. He consistently from what I've heard in various other leagues has placed high slash won the leagues, and so yeah, there's this is going to be an incredibly tough match. So yeah, let's get into this. Get into this team. So he's got Mega Absol, Excadrill, Hippowdon, Araquanid, Jolteon, Colossal, Oranguru, Galarian Weezing, Decidueye, Sock, and Latios. So, very scary team. It has some very annoying bulk and Colossal, especially if he gets Sand up and gets Colossal in. So Colossal and Sand, Hippowdon, Oranguru is especially bulky. Araquanid, same thing. Galarian Weezing is an incredible physical wall. Uh, Latios has pretty solid special defense. So yeah, I mean he's got some bulk. It definitely has like any sand team is gonna have that hyper offensive feel as well with having Excadrill, and then pairing that with something that's also incredibly fast like Mega Absol. That's sort of another crazy fast and crazy fast mon that can set up with Swords Dance, and then it has access to priority with things like Sucker Punch. So, yeah, I mean, this team is incredibly scary and was very hard to prep for, but I feel reasonably good with what we're going with here. So let's jump in. So first mon we got is Mega Gallade. So Mega Gallade with Justified is great. Actually, this should be Leaf Blade. I know. Sorry. Yeah. So this week no, that was right. Sorry. This should be Leaf Blade. Sorry about that. Yeah, so this week with this Mega Gallade, the plan is to bring it in late game and try to clean up after getting a reasonable amount of chip. So with these 4 moves, Close Combat, Knockoff, Zen Headbutt, and Leaf Blade, we pretty much cover all of his mons, other than cover all of his mons super effectively, other than I believe Araquanid. Um, yeah, I believe other than Araquanid and Jolteon, because close combat hits Absol, Excadrill, Colossal. Uh, Knockoff hits Oranguru, Decidueye, and Latios super effectively. Uh, Zen Headbutt hits Sock and what am I missing? Oh, Galarian Weezing super effectively. So yeah, other than Colossal and Jolteon, this Mega Galade set hits everything super effectively. So and Mega Galade with the crazy high, I believe 160 or 165 base attack stat is just crazy. So uh, hoping that we can sort of chip things away and end up being in a much better spot. So yeah. So then we got Gligar. Really excited to use Gligar. I think, again, it's a mon that is incredibly bulky with Eviolite. Even without Eviolite, it's still fairly solid defensively. So we are running Defog, obviously, to get rid of hazards. We got Earthquake just for being able to hit things on the ground. We've got U-turn to be able to pivot. We've got Roost. One of the very interesting things is that we are running a more specially defensive set, and that's just in case he's bringing a mixed Mega Absol. So if he has Ice, like this lives an Ice Beam from Mega Absol. It also lives, I think, I can't remember if it's 1 or 2. I'd have to redo the calc. Ice Fangs from Hippowdon. So this Gligar is pretty solid. It has immunity, so it can't be toxic, which will be huge, especially if he's bringing toxic on something like Araquanid, or if he's bringing toxic on the Galarian Weezing. So yeah, I think Gligar is very important. It's a solid defensive pivot. It also has the ability to pivot out. So uh, yeah, I think it'll be a huge help, especially with some of the mons that have a ground weakness on this team. So all right, so the next mon, Vaporeon, pretty standard. We are going with this should be Ice Beam. Sorry, I was playing around with some of the sets earlier to try to figure out exactly what I wanted. But yeah, so we got pretty standard Vaporeon, Scald, Wish, Protect, and Ice Beam. So with Ice Beam, we're able to pretty much two-hit KO Latios rather, which is incredibly nice, especially if he starts to try to set up. With Latios, we're in a good spot because he, even after Earthquaking, or after Dragon Dancing, Earthquake doesn't really do much to us, so that's good. And for the most part, this Vaporeon walls his potential Latios setup, so that's really good. And it also, I mean, it's a switch into Hippowdon. It can come in on Excadrill, so yeah, and he doesn't want to take those Scald burns potentially. So I think Vaporeon's positioning is going to be one of the keys to winning this game, especially because Vaporeon also checks Colossal, which is a huge problem. That thing, I hate playing against it. I wanted to draft it, and actually iLaserGuy took it the round before I was going to. So yeah, that should be interesting. All right, so now we got Superior. This is a standard Subseed Glare Leaf Storm set, running Contrary with leftovers. The idea here is if we can get, well, first of all, if Jolteon isn't there, then Glare puts in a ton of work, especially if we can get rid of Mega Absol. So, because Mega Absol has the Magic Bounce. So yeah, if we can glare a couple of things, or even one, like if we can get a glare on something, set up a sub, get some leaf storms off, potentially get a leech seed off, then we are in a very good spot. I think the presence of Superior almost makes it so that he has to bring Colossal. Like just the sheer fact that Superior is there makes it really hard for him to not, because it, like, Colossal just checks Superior pretty well. But yeah, and so we're running 232 speed that outspeeds max speed Latios. So, and then we're running 56 in special attack, so that if he is max def Hippowdon, then Leaf Storm is a 2-hit KO after the contrary boost from the second one. So, yeah, and then the rest we just dump into to use. The rest we just dump into special attack because, or into HP, so just for longevity's sake. Okay. So now we have Muck. So this Muck is pretty solid. It actually lives a... So the ideal here is sort of his switch-ins to Muck are Hippowdon and Excadrill. So if Hippowdon's gone and I can predict the Excadrill, I can go for a Brick Break. And then if I still have my Shucca Berry intact, then he Earthquakes, and then I just Brick Break again, and Brick Break's a 2-hit KO. So that would be incredibly nice. But otherwise, this Muck is going to just be toxicking things, and it has knockoff for all of his dark weaknesses, and we're running Thunder Punch just in case we need to use Muck to clean up Araquanid or get some chip on it. So yeah, and we're also Poison Touch, so we also have that opportunity to poison. I believe it's a 30% chance. Yep. So, all right, and then the last member of the team is Victini. So this was actually a tough slot. Wasn't sure exactly what we wanted to do here. Like, I was looking at the team and I was just like, well, there's a solid... Like, Coco's matchup isn't incredible, but it still works. And I was looking at... When I was looking at this, I was talking to a couple people, and I was talking to Rick, whose channel, I'll link in the description below. And I was like, yeah, Rick, I'm not sure. And he was like, honestly, Escavalier could be good. And I was like, yeah, but Colossal, it's a little scary. And then I was talking to M. Rogers, and he was like, huh, Special Victini could put in some work. And I was like, I'm gonna let's run some calcs and see what happens. And so, sure enough, I did look at it, and I was like, okay, I think I do like Special Victini here. And so, yeah, I think with Blue Flare, he has a handful of switch-ins, but not a ton. Mostly things like Colossal would want to switch in. Colossal, I don't even know if Araquanid would necessarily switch in, just because with Araquanid he could be worried about, especially if he doesn't know the set. Like Victini, that's the one great thing about Victini, it could run so many different sets, and so he doesn't want to switch into like a Bolt Strike or anything like that if I was running physical, especially because Araquanid has much less physical than Special Bulk. So, but yeah, this set hits Galarian Weezing incredibly hard. It hits anything that does not resist fire incredibly hard. Even the U-turn is a good chip on things like Mega Absol, if that pivots in. So I think there's definitely a solid matchup here for Special Victini. And so we're actually running with enough speed to outspeed Jolly, max speed, no Scarf, or no Sand Boost, Excadrill. And then we have enough defense to actually live an Earthquake, and then dump the rest in special attack. And that special attack actually allows us to Oko, I believe, max defense Muck, but it might be... Yeah, I think it's some investment of special defense Muck. So, yeah, so this is the team. I think we're excited to kick off the season, and I very very much looking forward to sort of continuing with ISL and continue to record. So thank you very much for any support. I'll be continuing to record for the TBA as well as for ISL, and I might start recording for another league too, just to kind of continue to get more comfortable with it. So yeah, if you did like this content, please leave a like below, and feel free to comment on anything I can do better or what you liked, etc. Yeah, thanks. Okay, so we're here for the ISL Week 1 game versus iLaserGuy. Just looking at his team, very surprised not to see Colossal, but we had ways to deal with it, so that's nothing crazy. Just looking at this, I think that there's possibly a Hippo lead, but just because Excadrill kind of, like, if Excadrill gets set up, then he kind of runs through. I think that's his win condition. Kind of thinking that, I was kind of thinking that there would be an Araquanid lead if he gets webs up, like that potentially hinders a Scarf Victini or anything like that. So I was thinking he was going to go Araquanid, and I knew I needed chip on Araquanid, so the plan was just lead Muck, get damage off, and kind of go from there. If he switched out, then I get a free knockoff. If he stays in, gets and attacks me, regardless of what it is with, then we're in a good spot. So let's jump in. So sure enough, he does actually lead with the Araquanid, and so I think in all situations, I think I would just click knockoff here. And sorry about that, just wanted to flip sides, you can see it from my perspective. So yeah, he goes Araquanid, I go Muck, and yeah, I think I was just click knockoff here. So he gets liquidation, and unfortunately gets the defense drop. That was kind of rough, but we actually get a knockoff and knock off the Wakanberry. So right away I'm looking, and I see Jolteon, and I see the Wakanberry, and I'm thinking, okay, he was very, very prepped for Coco. So that's good. That's definitely good. So he goes into Jolteon, go into Vaporeon, kind of thinking maybe he goes into Hippo. And just wanted to scout here. So I go for the Protect, and he actually baton passes out, which I was like, okay. That made me think maybe he's not super offensive, but we don't know. So goes into Weezing, and that's fine. I mean, just getting some chip on this, which right here I actually misclicked, and that was annoying. But so he gets up free Toxic Spikes. That's kind of a pain. But we have Muck still around, so can absorb those. It's not an issue. He misses the Willow. That's unfortunate. And then just get some nice chip. So, and we get the burn, which, again, RNG kind of in our favor there. So that kind of cancels out his Black Sludge. And he then goes into Jolteon, and we just go into Muck to absorb the Toxic Spikes. So yeah, it was kind of felt like the switch was obvious there. And here I'm actually going to double into Gligar, expecting a Volt Switch or a Thunderbolt. And so he goes for the Thunderbolt here, so that was definitely a good double. Then he baton passes again, and this was kind of surprising. Going back into Weezing, so I wasn't really expecting that, especially because I could have Defog on the Gligar, and so like setting up Toxic Spikes didn't seem like the greatest of plays, but a U-turn out, and go into Victini, and so the next couple turns is actually where the game is really decided. So he goes into Hippo, and I click U-turn, and he's got some really crazy tech, eject button, and so what eject button does is now it stops my U-turn, and he gets the switch. So for me, I'm thinking, okay, he might think I'm scarred, so he might think I'm switching. So I need to attack here because if Excadrill sets up, it's game over. So he does go for the Swords Dance, and I actually catch him with the Blue Flare, and that's Expert Belt, Victini with Blue Flare. I was a little worried that I might miss, but that definitely tilted all of the momentum into my favor. And Victini picks up its first kill, so that was definitely exciting. Now he goes into Absol, and I'm thinking, okay, I don't need Victini anymore, so I can just kind of sack this off. There's no need to take any unnecessary damage on anything, or even to end up letting him set up a Swords Dance or anything like that. So Victini goes down, and now the thought is, can just kind of start pressuring with some of the other mons that I have. So Vaporeon baits out Jolteon, which is good. Get some damage there, which is nice. Like, any chip on pretty much anything is basically putting all of these mons in Mega Gallade range. I mean, not that Jolteon, who's very frail, needs that. He needs chip, but here I'm thinking, okay, Serperior might be able to just sub and just start spamming Leaf Storm. So that's kind of just what I did here, expecting a switch into Weezing, because that was the only thing, or Weezing or Araquanid, because those are the two things with chip. So I just set up a sub here because it's free, and Jolteon couldn't really do anything to Superior, so especially with the loss of hidden power in this generation. So yeah, we get the sub up. He goes back to full health. That's fine. And then now we just start spamming Leaf Storm. Leaf Storm, or get the Leech Seed off for the recovery, rather. Sorry. Then start spamming Leaf Storm. And I was surprised he went for the taunt. I don't know if he expected me to Leaf Storm and didn't want me to also get the Leech Seed up, but we get the Leech Seed, so that's fine. So we're recovering now. And I was a little early on that, but now we just start spamming Leaf Storm. And ideally gonna get to +6, and with the leftovers and the Leech Seed, we should be able to get to as close to full health as possible. So yeah, we're at +4 right now, and he's gonna take both Leech Seed chip and Burn chip, so that's good. And at this point, I'm thinking, like, okay, in a very, very nice situation. +6 Superior. The Absol is the only thing. Like, the Absol is the only thing that can really touch this, because anything else that comes in is getting one shot. So it's pretty much just making sure that we don't get crit here. And by making sure, I mean, there's no guarantee, obviously. So it goes for the knockoff, which gets rid of the leftovers. That's unfortunate, but it happens. Go for the Leaf Storm, it OHKOs, so that's huge. At this point, like, I never say GG or anything preemptively, because you never know what can happen, but at this point I was thinking, okay, we're in much better spot. Just keep clicking Leaf Storm, and worst case, like, Vaporeon in the back can take care of the Hippo, and Gallade can kind of clean up anything else. So get rid of the Araquanid, he goes into Hippo, and unfortunately we missed the Leaf Storm here, which sucks, because definitely wanted Superior to get the kills, but it's all good. And so with the Ice Fang and Sandstorm chip, Superior goes down, which, again, if I had the leftovers that he had knocked over previously, we'd be in a good spot, or we would have been in a better spot, but it's fine. So Vaporeon comes in, and he actually goes into Jolteon here. And so, because of the fact that he was Baton Pass and Wish. I figured he wasn't very offensive, and so I just click Scald there, uh, or click Scald here rather, to try to finish off the Jolteon. And I mean, we take that. That's not a problem. And then Hippo comes in, and we basically just wish up on Hippo and then click Scald. Or I believe we wish up on Hippo. Need to remember. Getting ahead of myself. I shouldn't do that. But anyway, yeah. So Hippo comes in, and oh no, yeah, we just Scald twice. That's right. No need to wish. So yeah, because we live this. Yep, fully defensive Vaporeon. So yeah, and so that is a solid 4-0 win against a very good coach in iLaserGuy. Revenge of sorts for knocking us out of the playoffs in ISL Season 2. um, but yeah, like I said, solid game. The Blue Flare read was absolutely huge, and that sort of that not even sort of that drastically tilted the game in my favor. So yeah, that is the week 1 match. If you enjoyed this, subscribe, hit the like button. Hopefully going to be putting up content for all of my ISL matches as well as my TBA matches. Yeah, that's all. That's all I got. So have a good one, everybody.